God is infinite and indivisible. And since we are permanently lodged in that infinity, we are all one. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Jai Baba to everybody. And seeking Baba's blessings that we are able to somewhat understand what he wants to convey through his own handwriting in this beautiful book called In God's Hand. This is my interpretation, and as I always say, whatever I'll be explaining would be my understanding of what Baba is trying to convey. It could be the truth, it could be a part of the truth, I do not know. Uh, to me, this particular book is one of the most unique book in creation. Now, it may be very high sounding, but I am not sure whether by we mean the entire creation, the entire universe has anything of this sort, something written by God himself in his own handwriting, speaking about himself as God and also about illusion or Maya or creation. In my understanding, we don't think history, spiritual history or any history, any recorded history from the time of creation. I may be sounding very high funda, but this is my take. From the time of creation, I don't think we have so far anything written in God's hand. So how beautiful we are so fortunate to have this. Now this book was written sometime around 25, 26, as we all know, or maybe before. And so Baba was in full of his youth. And when we see the writing, it would sometimes look like scribbles, just writing very fast. The mind is, although it's a universal mind, but it's working very fast. There are cancellations, there are additions, there are corrections, and also there are mistakes. Mistakes in terms of grammar, mistakes in terms of spelling. And why I say that is when it comes to the truth, I'm reminded, I'm just digressing, of another great soul by the name Nisargadatta Maharaj. He was supposed to be a jnani, and he's supposed to be a jnani means knowledgeable, he knows everything. And he was suffering from cancer, and I think he continued to consume things which will be detrimental to his health, like bidi and tobacco and all that. And when somebody asked him that why do you continue to do this, then he said it in such a casual manner that this is all, what is there? This is just a deha, this has no relevance. The enjoyment of my knowledge, of my bliss is so unique that this doesn't really I don't pay attention to this. So it seems to me, again, my understanding is that he did not pay much attention to the handwriting because we give a lot of importance to, Baba never gave importance to handwriting because we do give importance to, good handwriting and all that, as well as the grammar, as well as the composition, and so many other things. He just did it. And to me, the impression was that he's trying to cram, he's trying to pack, he's trying to contain the infinity in the containment of the finite mind. He's just trying to push it in the finite mind. Just as how Baba had said about God speaks, that to appease the intellectual convulsions of men, he has given all this. It has importance, and at the same time, it has no importance. It all depends upon what importance we give to a particular subject. I'm reminded of a story which Baba himself had written out. He had narrated. It's about Muhammad Ghaznavi. Muhammad Ghaznavi For those who are waiting for In God's Hand to start, let me warn you in advance that this is my style of talking. We are trying to make this a very compact session where we'll try to rope in a lot of other connected things so that it becomes whole and complete, and not just focusing on In God's Hand, because this whatever we are sharing will give a lot of a flair, a lot of a beauty to what we are talking about. I was talking about the importance. Now, somebody who's a school teacher in the forum, and if he or she happens to read this handwriting, which of course Rakesh will post a little later, they would say, oh my God, what shabby handwriting. Because that is the impression that, what is it? This is not the way to write. So what is the importance that each one gives to each item is very important. And I'm reminded of this story of Muhammad Ghaznavi, who was a ruler, who was a king, very good king. He had lots of advisors and courtiers and ministers to guide him and help him. But he had this peculiar habit of seeking the opinion of one of his slaves who go by the name Ayaz. Ayaz. And the courtiers were very jealous. They were intrigued as to what is this king? After all, he's just a slave. Why should the king give so much of importance to the slave? But the slave Ayaz was all out for the king. He would obey his every instructions. So one fine day, in order to bring home a point about valuing things, he brings all the courtiers around, and obviously Ayaz is always there. He's there along with that. And he has a very, very precious, extremely precious ring in his finger. So he removes that ring and puts it on a table and asks, what is the price of this ring? And everybody said, big bombastic amounts, that this is priced at so and so, whatever the currency that may be. When it came to Ayaz, he said it has no value. It has no value. And everybody was surprised that it is such a valuable thing. And then Muhammad Ghaznavi tells that, come forward, any one of you, just come forward and smash that very precious jewel. And everybody were hesitant. They said, how can we do that? It is so precious. And then he tells Ayaz. So without thinking, Ayaz just takes a hammer and smashes. And people were aghast. What is this happening? And then Ayaz says that as long as that ring was on your finger, it was priceless. You cannot put a price to it. But the moment it comes out of your finger and it is kept separate, aloof, alone, stand on, as we say, stand alone by itself, it has no value. So that is the value which Ayaz had given to his master, and not necessarily the ring. Sorry? Not to the object. So in other words, then the Ghaznavi says that, see, he gave more importance to my word rather than to whatever his sentiments may be about the price of that ring. Why I said all this was, these pages by itself may have no meaning to somebody. They are written in a very poor, cheap quality paper with a pencil, right? But the importance it gains with us, for us, is that they are the handwriting of none other than the God-man himself. So that is what I was trying to come across, that is the value of Baba's handwriting and the value of Baba's, what should I say, avatarhood. Now coming back to sentences which are not framed well, the grammar, the composition. Fortunately for me, I came across a letter, again in Baba's own handwriting, written to Dr. Ghani. I won't read the whole letter. These are Baba's whole, I don't know whether it is coming properly or not. These are Baba's own handwriting, which was written to Dr. Ghani. I'll just read out one sentence from that. This was dated 30th of December 1921, where Baba himself says please overlook the mistakes of, and then he cancels that off. Please overlook the mistakes in this writing, as I have mostly forgotten the English language's proper use. Baba, in his own handwriting, it is a joke after all. His own handwriting is saying that I have forgotten the use of proper language, English language, and languages. We write Language apostrophe S. Baba uses Languagesis. What I'm trying to say is that it is not important as to how grammatically it is correct. See, one thing is there, Baba had himself stated that there are different types of perfection. Somebody who is a perfect in this, somebody perfect in that, somebody perfect, whatever. But spiritual perfection is perfection personified. And then Baba gives an example actually that Krishna was perfect in everything because he was the avatar. But he need not show his perfection in all the things that he do.
He does.
He does, yeah, correct. And he also says, Baba also said, that Krishna can be a perfect criminal. He can be a perfect criminal, but he need not use his perfection for that. I'm just trying to sum up what I wanted to say is that Baba was perfection personified. But if people look at Baba's words with a very different angle, then sorry to say they would miss out on the essence of what Baba is trying to convey. So now I think I almost said what I needed to say. I'll ask Soumya to read, and then as and when something props up, I will just jump in and say. Go ahead.
Introduction. The manuscript.
Can you just show the page? No. This is the book. Even Zia had shown it. This is in God's hand, right? And I think last time, yeah, correct. Even Kunda Tai had given it. And yeah, in God's hand. This was written sometime in 25, 26. That is what the assumption is, of course. Go ahead.
Cyrus ji?
Yes.
Can I be a little greedy and ask you to just repeat that sentence on the letter?
Okay. But you can say, if you are getting the recording, you can hear it 10 times if you want, but never mind, since you asked. So this is the letter. This is the letter which I got. It is addressed to Dr. Sahib. It says Dr. Sahib and a lot of things which I'm not going to get into. It says, please overlook the mistakes of. Then the off is scratched out. Please overlook the mistakes in this writing, as I have mostly forgotten the English language's proper use. So this is what Baba is writing on the 30th of December 1921 and he signs it as Meherwan. And he signs it as Meherwan, not as Meher Baba. And this was written to Dr. Ghani. All right. Now,
Thank you for honoring my request.
Sorry?
Thank you.
Okay.
Honoring my request.
Okay. Now, Soumya will read out the introduction.
The manuscript that this book brings to publication represents a unique and remarkable event. The 39 handwritten pages which comprise its main text are an exposition on ultimate reality in the handwriting of the very personification of that reality, the avatar of the age, Meher Baba. Words that proceed from the source of truth carry an impact that words of the intellect never can. Revelations of the avatar are unlike the inspired pronouncements of philosophers and poets.
Okay, I'll just interject here.
This is very nice.
This is very nice. Huh? Thank you, Rakesh. Very well done. Very well done.
Very good.
So now let's keep it as it is. Huh? Now, we always said that words that proceed from the source of truth, which is the avatar, it has a propensity, it has a power, it has a meaning. And I have taken an extract from Lord Meher, volume 19. I'm talking about the original Grey USA published book by Bhav Kalchuri, page number 6289. And Don Stevens says, he says that Baba said, as Baba works on these words that he gives out, he attaches to each word a spiritual energy of great quantity, great proportion, and the individual who takes the trouble, even without understanding, to read Baba's words taps into this gift of spiritual energy which the avatar has attached to his own words. Now, here Baba is talking about, or rather, Don is talking about, Don Stevens is talking about the words that Baba has dictated. I would say we are going one step ahead, that these are the words which Baba has actually written with his own hands. And then Baba goes, and then he looked at me. That means Baba looked at Don Stevens and said, it is your responsibility, Don, to impress upon the people that you are around that Baba has done this, which means putting the energy. And this spiritual gift that Baba has attached to his words will help them enormously in their own spiritual ongoing. It goes on to say, you must understand that whenever Baba gives out words for his lovers to use and read, he attaches a spiritual energy to them, something like an atomic spiritual bomb. As I said, I'll keep on interjecting to make these sessions more and more compact, all inclusive, all encompassing. So come again. Now, Soumya will read more.
What is the meaning of avatar? As Meher Baba explained, avatar means the descent of God into human form. When God becomes man as avatar, Christ, Rasul, he truly becomes man in the fullest sense of the word, taking upon himself all the limitations of the human mind and body, while at the same time experiencing the knowledge, power, and bliss of God. The avatar is one with God and simultaneously one with everyone.
All right. Here I would like to add in a little more. Here it is mentioned that the avatar is the direct descent of God in human form. But what does Baba say in God Speaks about avatar is also very pertinent and important for all of us to note. This is in God Speaks supplement number 3030, entitled The Avatar and the Sadguru, which is on page 252 of the second enlarged and revised edition of God Speaks. It says, I'm just quoting a paragraph. There's a long whole lot of things Baba said, but I'll just say whatever is relevant to what we are doing just now. Baba says, for mankind, it is easy and simple to declare that the avatar is God and that it means God becomes man. But this is not all that the word avatar means or conveys. It would be more appropriate to say that the avatar is God and that God becomes man for all mankind, and simultaneously God also becomes a sparrow for all sparrows in creation, an ant for all ants in creation, a pig for all pigs in creation, a particle of dust for all dust in creation, a particle of air for all air in creation, etc., for each and everything that is in creation. When the five Sadgurus effect the presentation of the divinity of God into illusion, that means they beseech God to come and take charge of his own creation. This divinity pervades the illusion in effect and presents itself in innumerable varieties of forms, gross, subtle, and mental. Consequently, in avataric periods, God mingles with mankind as man and with the world of ants as an ant, etc. But the man of the world cannot perceive this, and hence simply says that God has become man and remains satisfied with this understanding in his own world of mankind. Whatever be the understanding of man, Baba says, the fact remains that the avatar becomes and the Satguru acts. Now that last sentence may not be relevant to what we are doing, but here, when what is the avatar? He becomes everything for each and every one in creation. Simultaneously. Correct. Go ahead.
In this way, he spans the gap between the real and the illusory, helping to raise the level of consciousness of his entire creation. He is the soul of souls, yet it is his all-embracing love and the simplicity, humility, and humor of the divine life he leads that makes his advent time and again so adorable to humanity and draws the countless millions to follow him in the centuries after he has passed away. An Urdu poet, Kamar, has said of the eternal beloved's charm and magnetism, Tera husn hai teri saadagi tera husn hai, which translates, your beauty is your simplicity and your simplicity is your beauty. So these 39 pages in the avatar's hand do more than record words and ideas. They register a process in which God, who is beyond understanding, brings forth an image of the unfathomable truth for the limited human mind. We can never grasp the true significance of the author of creation writing as human author, or the universal work that he accomplishes in doing so. But what we can see in these penciled lines is a trace of that process. Much of the beauty of this manuscript lies in its handwritten expression, which brings a sense of closeness to him as a man, and through this, to his immediate direct experience of what he is writing about. Man amidst human limitations, Meher Baba writes as the one who knows.
I would now request, since we are talking about the 39 pages in Baba's own hand, if Rakesh can just give one image of Baba's first page of writing, yeah, so that people will know. Okay, just stop here, just stop here. This is not Baba's handwriting. This is in Ramju's handwriting, where Ramju writes explanations of spirituality in Baba's own hand, probably written in 1925. We all know, okay, now we are here, I can always, now we all know that Baba started observing silence on the 10th of July, 1925. And then immediately from 13th onwards, he went into his Jhopdi, which is also called Agrakuti, or also that was the first construction which was made in Mehrabad under Baba's guidance with specific measurements and all that, right? What should be the measurement of the door, the window and everything. Baba goes into that Jhopdi because that Jhopdi is the one where Baba started his silence on the 10th, and he starts writing something. You call it the book, we call it the secret book. We do not know. We'll come to that later on where the book is now. I'll tell you where it is so that we can be all right. So he stopped writing. He started writing. And then this is what Baba is now, and he started writing the book in the Jhopdi, and he also wrote the book in the Khadda. The Khadda is what we call today the Baba Samadhi, the tomb shrine. So he did not start, he kept writing over there. He kept writing at various places, including he ended the writing in the table cabin, within the table cabin. and I think I have the date also, but I'm not finding it here. It was in October of 1927. But never mind, I'll come to that. So this is what Baba is telling when he stopped writing. This is something which is written in 1925 or 26, we do not know, but Ramju says probably 1925. Now, from the 2nd of January 1927, Baba stopped writing. I don't know why, but in several books, it is written as from 1st of January 1927. I suppose even in this book. But this is what I have taken out, that from 2nd January 1927, Baba ceased writing completely and began conveying his thoughts and feelings through hand gestures or by pointing to different alphabet boards. Okay.
Letters on
No, I'm just trying to visualize why. One sec, please bear with me. Okay, sorry. I would like to do this. Baba writes in Lord Meher, which is the original volume, page number 878. You find these discourses of mine very interesting, but they are nothing compared to what I have written in my book at Mehrabad. Its 300 pages cover only short points. So now we get some idea that Baba has written about 300 pages. At somewhere else it is, and that was Baba's style, that he would write in a mixture of languages. He would use Farsi, he would use Persian, Gujarati, Hindi, Urdu, Marathi, English. He would write in so many languages where Baba says its 300 pages cover only short points. And when they are fully amplified and rewritten, the points will comprise several large volumes. It is full of secrets which no previous saint, prophet, or avatar has divulged. Again, it is assumed that this could be also a part of that, because much of this also appears in another manuscript which was published as Infinite Intelligence. I'm just trying to collate all these things. Now, before he stopped writing, that means after he wrote all these things, after he wrote the book, before he stopped writing, on Saturday, January 1st January 1927, a year and a half after the master began his silence, he wrote this message. That means, in my understanding, limited understanding, on the 1st of January 1927, he wrote something, and that was his last writing. He wrote, I intend to stop writing from tomorrow. It is not definite when I will resume writing or speaking. I may start again after some days, some months, or even some years. It all depends on Hazrat Babajan. So that is what he said. And after that, he stopped writing, except for putting his signature or initials wherever he was expected to put. Go ahead.
In reading this facsimile, we are carried back in time.
Sorry. I want you to show that facsimile. Rakesh, if you can. Yeah, go ahead. Show Baba's handwriting. Yeah, okay. So these are Baba's handwriting. You can see how it is written in a very fast way, it seems, where when you come down, you will find that he has struck off certain things, he has rewritten, he has cancelled, he has corrected. You know, see, love, for you can say, for example, the last line, because unnatural darkness. The correct word is because unnatural darkness. But that's what I'm trying to say, that he was perfection personified. He was perfect in every way, but it is not necessary for him to exhibit or show his perfection. When he was writing this, we do not know why, but because for him, you know, what is important is his own experience and his job of awakening people. But because we ask for intellectual explanations of that which cannot be grasped through the intellect, it seemed to see, now you can see all these cancellations and all that. We will go into that in details. For right now, see, you can see all this. Right now, we will just contain ourselves with the introduction. Come to the introduction again, please. Thank you, Rakesh. In reading,
The next page.
Next page, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, bas.
In reading this facsimile, we are carried back in time, as it were, into the presence of Meher Baba himself in the mid-1920s, still in the full fire of his youth, impatient with the cramping conventions of language and style and grammar.
So you can, sorry, Soumya. He was from the very beginning, he seemed very impatient. If he gives a work to somebody, he just wants to see that it is completed, not just in time, but before time. Erach used to say that even eating, he would eat so fast, he would eat so fast. So in that sense, that impatience is there. We are trying to now, along with reading Baba's literature, Baba's book, we are trying to see the beauty of his own personality as the God-man. Go ahead.
Expostulating in swift, bold strokes of the pencil on the theme of one God in ignorance and knowledge, darkness and light.
When we talk about one God in ignorance and knowledge, darkness and light, his concept, if you read God Speaks, there is nothing besides God. There is only God and nothing else. So there are different stages or states of consciousness of God, which is fully conscious, or there are so many other stages which we don't want to get into right now. So when Baba talks about plants, for example, or the vegetables, for example, God in the vegetable state, God in the insect state, insect would mean reptiles, etc. God in the fish state, God in the bird state, God in the animal state, God in the man state. So he emphasizes that there is nothing besides God in all these different states and stages.
Sometimes he crosses out a sentence or misspells a word. Sometimes he goes back to insert phrases between lines. At one juncture, he even appears to have jotted down a note, possibly for future reference, and then to have scored it out again. Writing predominantly in English, he interjects a Gujarati word or expression when no English word suits, and then suddenly switches to Gujarati for several pages. He quotes a Hindi quatrain of Kabir, but writes it not in the Hindi script, the Devanagari, but in the Gujarati script. Sometimes he inserts diagrams and expresses relations through equations and formulas, as if summoning the modern language of logic and mathematics to the exposition of an ancient spiritual theorem that God is equal to the is, and the illusion of creation is equal to the is not. In the heat and intensity of these handwritten pages, we can almost imagine the infinite intelligence fashioning a verbal likeness of itself in the crucible of time, space, and the workings of a human mind. In this way, the manuscript gives a new picture of him who is both limited and limitless, bound and free. The eager energy, naturalness, and concentrated focus of the writing are the outflow of the divine personality as a writer, where words, now streaming freely, now pausing in reflection, now checking and circling back upon themselves, give voice to a truth that ultimately defies description. Thus, the writing process, like other activities, is brought into the compass of the avatar's work. For nothing that is human is strange to God. As Meher Baba has said, true spirituality, based on the everything, embraces every aspect of the nothing.
Here what is brought out is Baba's humanness. And Erach would also say that Baba was so human that many a times, even though we stay so closely with Baba, we forget that he is God. And time again, Baba had to remind them, do not forget that I am God. He keeps on reminding that. There are times when we've read Baba's literature where Baba would be so human as to make such errors like, Baba would say, okay, let us go by this way, as if he's forgotten the way, as if he's lost the way, as if, like how all human beings behave. So although he was God, he was also human, and he exhibited his humanness as the avatar. So here what comes across is that he was so human and that he wrote as a human being about what it is, what truth is all about in a language. Hopefully, when we do it, we'll come to know whether we are able to really digest that language or not. So that's about that.
The vision of reality that in God's hand sets forth is, in essence, the same as that which underlines the discourses God speaks and other books and messages which Meher Baba composed and that were published in later years. Those subsequent works were addressed to a wider, broad based following that included Westerners as well as Easterners, neophytes to spirituality, along with advanced seekers. Accordingly, in formulating these later explanations, Meher Baba adjusted his terminology and took pains to bring out the consistencies underlying seeming paradoxes. In God's Hand, by contrast, appears to have been written without regard to the constraints of audience. For this reason, it sometimes seems to be obscure and esoteric. Yet, when one comes to grasp the language that Meher Baba is using, the theme which he is developing emerges with great power and clarity.
See, we have seen that Baba's writing also seems to evolve with time. A special example could be like Salik, where Baba uses the word Salik as synonymous with a perfect master or a Sadguru. And later on, he differentiates between a Salik and a perfect master. So here what the writer of the introduction says is that in later time, looking to the audience, Baba had to adjust his terminologies or his words that he has used in order to see that it gels well to the audience. So in other words, he has modulated, he has changed certain words, he has written it in a fashion that is understandable and acceptable to the general populace. Let's put it that way. Whereas here in 1920s, when he was writing this particular literature, he was writing it without any regard to who the audience is. He was writing it just as is. In other words, this is more or less like a raw form of his thought processes. And then gradually over a period of time, he filtered it, he modified it, he set it in such terms and such sentences that is easily I would say digestible to our human intellect. So that is what it is said. and that is why, although Baba has used certain terminologies at certain points in time, I personally prefer to go by what is given in God Speaks, because Baba said that nothing of this kind is ever written before, and that is the last word of authenticity so far as the entire spiritual literature is concerned, or what you can say a biology, a kind of a journey, a biography of a soul is concerned. starting from the whim to far beyond God realization actually, because after God realization also there are certain stages, and the highest being that of a Kutub or a Sadguru. So this is what this paragraph says, that Baba was not, here I'll repeat this, this was written without regardless to the constraints of audience. When the audience who is sitting before us, you feel constrained to talk in a certain terminology which is understandable to the audience. Whereas here, he's regardless of that constraint, he just went on writing whatever he had to write.
The subject of this book is nothing less than the ultimate question of metaphysics: what is? And what is the relation between the real and the apparent, God and the creation? Meher Baba's explanation hinges on the difference and interrelations between four states of God: as natural light or self, as natural darkness, spirit, as unnatural darkness, mind, and as unnatural light, body.
Sorry. Now, throughout throughout how many turns it takes, you will have to struggle with these four terminologies: natural light, natural darkness, unnatural light. Everything in this book revolves around these four words. So I would suggest for serious students of this book, when they come with a paper and pen, so that you write simultaneously what Baba is trying to say. Not now, but maybe May Kripa has already taken the paper.
Hare Jai Baba.
Not now. Anyway, you are most welcome to do it now. And try to write it out. So, because the whole thing can get so complex. It is something like algebra or some kind of whatever equation, trigonometry, whatever you call it, where if you miss one line, then you just get lost in the wilderness. You just can't come back. So you need to be all the time focused on what is going on. Otherwise, you will get lost. Number one. Number two, this is my thought process as of now. I want to carry the whole lot, whosoever it is, along with us. I don't want even one single person to feel left out. In other words, if you do not understand, you are more than welcome to ask me 100 times, and I will try to explain as best as I can to see that you get the meaning behind it, so that we all work, so that we all move together in this direction. So that is what I wanted to say, that I would like people to bring a paper and a pen. Acha. Now, to make things still more easy, I would say it is the easiest. I have shared, what should I say, pages with Rakesh Acharya, the entire book, in PDF format. For those who are genuinely, seriously interested as a study material to read and study and ask when they come to the sessions, you can write to Rakesh, and I am sure he would oblige you with sending on your email the PDF files, because it is not something that you can do superfluously, upar se. It needs a thorough understanding of what Baba is trying to say. When Baba says natural light, what does it mean? Or natural darkness, or unnatural darkness and unnatural light. So this is what I wanted to say. So let's go ahead now.
These four states are encompassed in the game of consciousness, which lies latent in sound sleep, dreams, in both ordinary human dreaming and in the divine dream of the planes, and comes to full wakefulness in ordinary human awareness, as well as in the divine awakening of God realization.
So these are the four states where the whole game is being played. The game of consciousness is being played in these four states. And unless and until we are very clear, our foundation, our grounding is not, if it is not clear, we will lose it all. So I don't mind repeating it as many times, these few first pages, so that once you are established, grounded, anchored in those terminologies, then it will be quite a smooth flowing thing.
What God in the states of ignorance, unnatural darkness, and unnatural light must bring to pass is the complete cessation of all activities of the mind. Though yogis try to accomplish this through various techniques of concentration, Meher Baba explains that this method runs up against almost insurmountable difficulties. However, the God realized perfect master, Salik Guru.
See, here now, Baba is using the word Salik. Even in the Aarti, he is using the word Salik, which is the same thing as Salik. But later on, he said that Salik does not have any duties to perform. So he differentiates between a Salik and a Sadguru, or a Kutub, or a perfect master, where the perfect master has duties to perform towards creation.
However, the God realized perfect master, Salik Guru, can silence the mind in an instant. When the mind is thus eternally silenced, the infinite ego of God experiences the sound sleep in awake state.
In other words, Baba here is referring to ego. And we've been saying this over and over again, that ego is not to be annihilated. It is the mind which is to be annihilated. The ego is transformed from the limited finite ego to the infinite, infinite, you can say infinite ego, or unlimited ego, or divine ego. So ego is transformed, whereas mind is to be annihilated. And here Baba says that all these other practices, you do anything, you do yoga, you do concentration, you do meditation, you do all kinds of, spiritual gymnastics, which Baba uses the word, you will come across unsurmountable difficulties and problems, and you will not reach the goal unless and until you have surrendered to a living perfect master, or to the avatar, who's the eternal living perfect master.
How do I get the text?
The very, yeah, just a minute. I'll come to whatever question. The very act of liberating us, of freeing us through doing any of these things, actually binds us more. You see, that's why Baba never gave much importance to these things. He simply said, remember me wholeheartedly, constantly, love me, make me your constant companion, remember me, and if you remember me when you breathe your last, you come to me. That's about all. He does not want us to go into any of these spiritual gymnastics, because he knows that these things will bind you more and more.
The link between consciousness and the mind, unnatural darkness, is broken. The spirit sees the self, and the goal of existence, to experience God realization, is attained.
Here in the entire book, Baba is not talking about soul. He uses the terminology self, capital S, and spirit. So when we come to that, we'll see that he doesn't use the word soul, he's using the word self, which is the reality, which is God, which is the real I.
This is the theme, ancient but contemporary, regarding which the avatar penciled these notes on inexpensive notebook paper sometime in the opening years of his advent. Though many clarifications and further illuminations followed in later decades, in the end, all that the mind really needs to understand is contained here. Truly, these 39 pages speak volumes.
Now, I just wanted to know if Rakesh can tell me if Homyar Mystery is on the group today. If Homyar is there, please put your video on. Homier missed
No,
the
I
event.
don't think so. He's there.
Okay,
Wait,
okay.
let me
So
check.
if at all he comes in the next session, we will give him about a couple of minutes, because he is the one who actually took the photographs of these Baba's, handwriting. And so he has something, he will definitely have something to share as to how brittle they were, how brittle. And you're supposed to wear gloves, and how he will only explain it, and how respectful the Mandli were towards these papers, how respectful the entire team of the archives, Meher Baba archives, were to see that and to ensure that these papers are archived and salvaged, and that they do not further deteriorate, because they are, it's already 100 years now, and they were written on very cheap, inexpensive paper with pencil. So if Homier was there, he would have shared something. But maybe if he comes next time, I'll ask him to share his experience about the whole thing. All right.
Concerning the actual manuscript and its history, little is known with certainty. The title page identifies it as having been written in Baba's own hand, probably in 1925. The handwriting of this title page is that of Ramju Abdullah, one of Meher Baba's close disciples from the 1920s. After commencing his long silence on July 10, 1925, for a year and a half, Meher Baba communicated primarily through writing with chalk on slates. It was during this period that, with his own hand, he wrote the book, which Baba later referred to as his most important and comprehensive exposition on spirituality.
I have read about this earlier, that this is nothing, Baba says, all my discourses compared to what I have written in that book. And nobody seems to know the whereabouts of the book. I was given a clip of the video talk by none other than my friend Ram, where Don Stevens interviews Merwan Jasawala about the book. And I was also told, because there's a reference to Ramju Abdullah being the last link who had taken the book from Nawal Talati's home. And this was told to me by none other than Nawal's daughter, Parviz, when she visited us at our place. Sridhar's wife, Sridhar Kelkar's wife, she's no more. So she said, when we spoke about that, she said, the book was with us. And one fine day, Ramju just walks in and said, Baba wants this book. And we had given the book to Ramju. And after that, there is no trace of where the book is, what the book is. But it was there in Mehrazad also. In the interview, it says, and Baba, and Baba is asking Eras to bring the book just to show it to Don. And Don says that it seemed to be like small, how we write in school, exercise books, maybe 200-300 pages. And there Don was right, because Baba says 300 pages here. Baba is right, saying in his own words. So 300 pages. And it was also in the Central Bank vault, Central Bank of India vault at Fort in the Fountain area. It seems that the book was also in the New York bank's locker somewhere, but nobody knows the whereabouts of that book. During the later days of Baba's ministry on earth, Baba was asked, I think by Eraj, what about the book? And he just gestured, like in the armpit, how we safe keep in things in the armpit. So he showed that gesture and said, it is safe. It is in safe hands, and that it will come out when the time is right, at the appropriate time. Now, what is that time is right? What is that appropriate? I do not know. For all you know, he may himself find it after 700 years. When he comes back, he will say, oh, I remember I had kept it over there. And if I really don't know, because many people struggled to find the book. Some of them even dug open so many places in Mehrabad to say, oh, it is it is immersed, or it is, what is it, hidden in that particular place, but nothing, nobody could find the book. So let's what should I say, leave it at Baba's words that it will come out when the time is right. Since it does not come out, we assume that we are not qualified to know what is written in the book, because we are so buddhu that only when the time is right, it will come out, and at that time we'll be able to understand the contents of this book. Go ahead.
On January 1st, 1927, however, he gave up writing altogether except for signing his name, which he resumed after an interlude of 3 years.
Now, I don't know why 1st of January. Okay, maybe what the author wants to say, because at various forums I hear this date, 1st of January 1927. But on 1st January, he actually wrote, as I read out over here, including giving the page number of Lord Mayor. So maybe what the writer is conveying is that after writing that on the 1st, after that on the 1st itself, he stopped writing. Maybe that is the idea that is being conveyed. The editors are writing, right? Okay.
He gave up writing except for signing his name, which he resumed after an interlude of 3 years. And for the last 42 years of his life, he expressed himself either by means of an alphabet board or through hand gestures.
He used to always sign, wherever he used to sign, MS Irani. I think it's there in this book. Is it there? So, Rakesh, is it there in this book?
Yes, I saw it. Yes,
just show that.
Wait,
yeah.
let me see.
MS Irani. At times he would write Merwan. There was only one occasion, first and the last occasion, I don't know the details, maybe I'll have to find that out, where some financial instrument was given in his name as Meher Baba, and he was, in a sense, compelled to sign his name Meher Baba. But he did not sign as Meher Baba. What he did was, he made Chanji hold a pen. This is a signature. He made Chanji hold the pen, and he held Chanji's hand, and he inscribed the name Meher Baba on that particular instrument. It could be a draft, money draft, or whatever it is. But that is the only time when he signed his name Meher Baba. Otherwise, he would always sign, like how it is now being shown, MS Irani, or sometimes, he would write as Merwan. All right. Thank you, Rakesh.
These 39 handwritten pages, therefore, capture the concrete image of one of his human activities that was rarely in evidence after 1927.
Obviously, after 1927, he totally stopped writing, except for putting his signatures, as we see, or initials, wherever it was deemed fit by him.
The manuscript was kept for a number of years by Mani S. Irani, Meher Baba's sister, among her personal papers. We have no sure information as to how, from where, or through whom it came into her hands, although it is possible that Ramju himself, when he gave his diaries to Meher Baba in Meherazad in the 1960s, delivered these handwritten pages at the same time, and that Baba then entrusted them to Mani. In any event, it has recently been discovered that certain portions of this text have been incorporated, sometimes verbatim and sometimes in paraphrase, into a much larger manuscript on infinite intelligence.
Now, this Infinite Intelligence is a very thick book, and some part of this, what we are going to read, exactly as it is, verbatim or paraphrasing, has been incorporated in this book called The Infinite Intelligence, which was published in 2005.
That is not in Meher Baba's handwriting, but that presumably dates from the same period in his life and was based on his explanations. This larger manuscript itself bears an interesting relationship to Bhau Kalchuri's The Nothing and the Everything, which develops upon points which Baba dictated to Bhau in 1967-68 during a period of intense seclusion.
We all know that the last 3 years in Baba's ministry, Baba was in complete seclusion. And not only in complete seclusion, but he was also failing in his health. And during the night watch, when Bhau would be sitting with Baba for night watch, Baba would give Bhau certain points on which Bhau was supposed to elaborate and expand and then read them out to Baba the next day or the day after or whatever. Bhauji writes that Baba's health was so feeble that every time he starts gesturing something, he would get into a spasm. He would get a spasm and his body would lift from the bed and he would be in excruciating pain. And Bauji would tell Baba that since you are in pain, don't exert yourself. There's no need to exert. You can do it at a little later time. And Baba would snap and say that there is no time. That time is running out and I must give this, I must do this. And later on it transpired and Bauji said and the Mandali said that whatever that has come out in the book called The Nothing and the Everything contains 10%, sorry, of the book which Baba had, or the secret book or the book which Baba had written during the 1925-26 regime. So that is what we are talking about here, The Nothing and the Everything. And this Nothing and the Everything was published in 1981.
At that time, Baba told the Mandali that what he had given to Bhau constituted 10% of what he had himself written in the book 40 years earlier. In 1998, when the manuscript on infinite intelligence from the 1920s came to light, Bhau went through it and immediately felt that it contained a full explanation of the points given by Baba to him. It appears then that some of the same contents on the subject of infinite intelligence were given by Baba in the 1920s and again in the late 1960s, that is, in the opening and final years of his advent.
So what has been observed now, that whatever points that he gave around the 1920s, more or less similar points were given to Bauji during 1967-68.
Many lovers of Meher Baba and students of his work naturally will want to see for themselves the avatars.
Okay, just sorry for very sorry. We have already crossed the 6:33. If people are interested, then I would like to continue and complete the introduction so that we can go on straight to the Baba's handwriting. Otherwise, I can close it now. And so if you can just raise your hand and Rakesh will tell me what I'm supposed to do. Accordingly, we'll do it. Rakesh can just gauge approximately who wants so that we can finish there's a continuity of link. That's why. So may I continue then in that case?
Yeah, many have raised their hands.
Many have they. Okay, fine, lovely. Thank you then.
Thank you.
So I'll continue and we'll finish the introduction. Right. Thank you.
Many lovers of Meher Baba and the students of his work naturally will want to see for themselves the avatar's own handwork in the handiwork, Baba, sorry, in the 39-page manuscript. To make this experience available to a wide public, the Avatar Meher Baba Perpetual Public Charitable Trust, under the chairmanship of Bhau Kalchuri, has prepared this facsimile edition for publication. Every effort has been made to reproduce the original manuscript as far as practicable in page size, color of the pencil graphite, color of the notebook sheets, and other particulars. The original 39 pages, now fragile and yellowing with age, are being housed in the Trust's archive collection.
So what you will be seeing in the original book is actually the original size of the page and also the color. Of course, later on that book has been translated into Hindi, Marathi. So there the book is small and the page size is also concise. But the original book which we showed you and which many of you have, that is the original correct size and the texture and the color, not the texture, sorry, the color of the page itself. That is what we are leaving it for Soumya to explain if he comes next time. I'll try to bring him to, next week.
No doubt, this unique book will elicit diverse responses. Among those readers drawn into its spell, some will be intrigued by the philosophy and metaphysics, others by the sheer visual impact of the God-man's own handwriting, still others by the feeling of his intimate presence that the manuscript conveys. These are all imprints of his humanity that lead us closer to a glimpse of the true humility and sheer loveliness of the human face of God. Of this one who is the beloved of all mankind, the celebrated Urdu poet Seemab, one of Meher Baba's own favorite poets, has written, Manzil mili, murad mili, muddua mila, sab kuch mujhe mila, jo tera nakshe pa mila. A free rendering of these beautiful lines reads, I reached the destination, won all that my heart longed for, and attained the object of my desire. Verily, I achieved all there was to be achieved when I found your imprint. The editor, footprint.
When I found your footprint. And the editors, here we have jotted down the editor's name as Merwan B. Jasawala, Ward Parks, Eric Nadell, and Heather Nadell. So this is the introduction of this book, and Rakesh is rolling through the pages, so you can have a glimpse of it. You're most welcome to roll it. See, it's something, you know, which we really need to. As I said, it's a study material. You can't just laugh it off. Although I will try to make it as interesting and as you know, what should I say, light as possible, but be sure that it is a little intense when you look at it. So with this, we thank Baba for blessing us to start this book year on this forum, and let us hope and pray that we are able to complete it to his liking, and that many more will be able to know what Baba wants to convey through his own handwriting in God's hand. Jai Baba. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai.
Cyrus, Kadambari.
If somebody wants to ask anything, please ask.
Kadambari has a question.
Yes, please.
Kadambari, unmute, please.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, Kadambari, come.
Jai Baba, it was just by mistake. I'm so sorry.
No, but no. We can't excuse you. You'll have to show your face. Whosoever wants to ask a question must show their beautiful face. Wow.
Here my faces, and thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Dinesh is there and Yasmin.
Go ahead, Neeta.
No, Dinesh.
Yasmin.
Oh, again it's a miss. Okay, anybody else? Anything to ask?
No, I just wanted to thank you, Cyrus.
Thank you, Yasmin.
It's really very generous of you to do this. Both Soumya
what generous?
Very, very generous of you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Baba.
Thank you, Baba. Nothing
Baba.
generous, Baba. I am benefiting myself. I am not benefiting other. I am very selfish. Let it be known.
No, you are not selfish. You're less selfless.
No. We had done this in the Bombay Center, and then we did it at the Pune group where we meet, and so now we are doing it here. Hopefully, thank you
for doing it with us.
Yeah, thank you, dear. Okay, then that's all.
Neeta.
Oh, there's Dinesh and Meher Chand. So Dinesh, unmute your mic.
Okay. Let Neeta ask. Neeta,
Okay.
Neeta, they want the digital hand. They don't want to see your flashy hand. Okay. Never mind. You'll get a chance. Don't worry. I won't spare you. Go ahead. Who wants to ask?
Dinesh.
Okay, Dinesh, go ahead. Where is it?
I think Dinesh is not coming. Merchant Nuri?
Merchant, you want to ask something or share something? What is happening today?
Are Nita,
Merchant.
unmute.
Okay.
I'll unmute for
Wait,
Anand.
Merchant
Merchant has
Nuri.
come. Merchant has
Merchant
come.
Nuri? Yeah.
This book was printed first in Hyderabad.
Yes.
And Balaji took a lot of pains when it came.
Yes.
And all Hyderabad volunteers, they scanned, because those days the original PDF system was not there. Nowadays, once books come direct through internet, that goes to the printer.
True.
This thing.
Right.
So Balaji every day is to bring the print material,
Right.
verify it for people. Like that, I had an opportunity to go through the originals
Excellent.
of that. That's
Right.
what I want to share it.
Thank you, dear.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Merchant.
So you are a part of this in God's hand. Very good. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Nita.
Yes, Nita. Unmute yourself, Nita. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Somebody
last.
stop me from unmuting. Okay, I have a request, please. Is this only going to be on Tuesday?
On Tuesdays, yes. Only on Tuesdays. You unmute yourself, please.
Gone on mute again. 1 minute. I'll just